We're at a minute.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the TENDO show. I, of course, am your host, the TENDO, and this is the estimable Hannah Monster. And on today's episode, we are going to talk about a handful of things. I, of course, want to talk about the new Mortal Kombat movie that just came out. I'm sure a lot of you have seen it and have had some thoughts about it. We can talk just a little bit about the wrap-up of Falcon and Winter Soldier, though we're not going to go too far into that because that's probably something that a few people watching may not want spoiled. But we're going to also talk about our weekend review of thrifting, because if this show is nothing else, it is our weekend review of our hashtag trash life. So before we get into anything that we're going to talk about today, go ahead and drop a comment below about what you thought about any one of those things: Falcon, Winter Soldier, Mortal Kombat, how your thrifting or your hashtag trash life week went. We'd love to know, and when we get to chatting about those things, we'll definitely talk a little bit about what you guys got going on. But before we get into any of that, you guys do me a few favors. If you're somehow here and not already subscribed, subscribe. It would really do us good, help us get to 15,000 subs. Matter of fact, even if you think you know you're subbed, go check to see if you're subbed. Anyways, because I get these comments all the time where people are like, bro, thought I've been subscribed for a year. I'm not subscribed. YouTube does weird things like this sometimes, so just make sure. Also, there are some links below this video you can go check out. I would appreciate if you do that at some point today before the show is over. There's just a lot of stuff down there you can check out. And also, just so you know, every time we go live, I usually pin something in the top of the chat box. It's usually our Twitch or something like that. Actually, this week, Hannah and I have been doing some really serious Minecraft stuff. So over there, pinned in the chat box is, of course, a link to some Minecraft stuff. If you're really into Minecraft, I think you'll like this video. If you're not into Minecraft, you may not want to watch it, but I do think this video that's linked over there is actually one of the funniest videos we've ever made. So maybe it'd be worth your time. Anyways, but before we get into anything, let's chat a little bit. I want to talk about who's here. Vinyl Pep Records from Pakistan. My man, welcome. We don't get a lot of people commenting from Pakistan, but welcome. I'm glad you're here. Kimberly, welcome, welcome. California Travel Videos, love the shows. Thank you. Yellow is my favorite color, if you can't tell. Hillary, I'm glad you're here. Bloody Bones, welcome, welcome. Derek, glad you're here. Round of applause, everybody, for our mod Niagara Joe. He is in the house. Over 100 people here already in the first couple of minutes. That's awesome. That's what I'm talking about. I appreciate all you all dropping by. There's no excuse for this video not to have 100 likes right now. How many does it have?
37.
Pump it up!
Come on.
Well, Sal's, glad you're here. Welcome. Thank you for those let's go emojis. I appreciate it. Jack, welcome, welcome. Mr. Lumen, glad you were here. Trey, welcome, welcome. Perm77, hello. I'm glad you guys are all here. Hannah, why don't you tell us how your week of thrifting has been? Did you bring home anything great that's noteworthy?
You know, I don't feel like there was anything that was just like blowing me away. I mean, I always love when we go to the bins, so I always just bring home a bunch of stuff. I honestly was on like mega buy color block jean custom piece mode this week. So I was really happy to bring home multiple pieces that I needed to slice in half and sew back together. So that was always really good.
Well, you know what's funny is I'm kind of on the same wavelength. Like, I brought home a couple cool things in this last week's worth of videos, but honestly, all the best stuff is actually like tomorrow and the next day's video.
Yeah, I know. I was thinking that too. I was just like, oh, yeah, that one thing.
I was sitting there about to say something about it, and I was like, oh no, don't give it away. Don't give
tomorrow,
it away.
So.
Yeah. Well, I'm curious how some of you guys' week has went. I would like to make a better habit of starting off these videos just talking about the thrifting, the goodwilling, the collecting and stuff. But sometimes there's not as much to talk about. I mean, I brought home some video games this week, nothing too special. And almost every single toy I've bought this week has been for our antique mall resale. So when that happens, I don't even remember what it all is. Let's see who else we've got here. Hello, I'm from Guelph, how do you pronounce that? Type it out phonetically. Ontario, Canada, and it was featured in King of the Hill. That's hilarious.
Oh, that's great.
Big King of the Hill fan here. Seen every episode. Have you ever seen an episode at all?
I have.
Okay.
They would just pop on reruns on the TV when I was a kid, so sometimes I'd watch them. But I never really understood what was going on.
California Travel Videos says, I'm going to be hitting you guys up for an interview soon. We'd love to. Hannah, I don't know if you remember, but these are the guys that I met while we were in outside of Vegas. welcome. I'm glad you're here.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. Now I remember. I had to sift through my brain.
You weren't with me. I met him down by the beach. Learned this week that Steven Universe World is based off of Maryland and Delaware area. I didn't know that. If you'd asked me what locations it was based off of, I don't know that I'd have just been able to tell you, but I definitely would have, in some ways, been able to guess that it was the Northeast.
Well, I thought it was in like New Jersey.
Well, the Northeast.
Yeah, because like he said something about Jersey, the city.
Right.
They went up to Empire City.
And all that stuff was nearby. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that makes sense. That's cool. Good to know. Watching from Staten Island, that's awesome. Welcome. Everybody else, spam where you're watching from. This is actually very, very helpful. I like understanding where our audience is. Because I'll chat with some friends I have that are from different countries, and they'll often want to know if and how many people we might have watching from their country, and it's always hard to say. Very occasionally, but every now and then I'll hear one that surprises me. Because we don't get a lot of Middle Eastern commenters. I'm not saying I know whether or not they're watching, but not a lot of people have said, hey, watch from Pakistan. So that's pretty cool. Let's see, Maryland, New Hampshire, New Brunswick, Texas, Indiana, Minnesota, not bad. North Carolina, it's a pretty nice spread. So we've got all over the country, for starters. Ohio, South Carolina, Mississippi, Virginia, St. Catherine, Ontario, Canada. Whoa, now they're coming in fast. Delaware, Texas, Vegas, can't keep up, Oklahoma, North Carolina, Oregon, New Zealand, Arizona, Washington State, but basically Portland, Oregon, Idaho, Lincoln Park, Michigan. Hello from Oregon, Illinois, New York, New Zealand.
Just naming countries.
Puerto Rico, Canada, Tucson, Vegas, New Zealand, Ontario. Gosh, there's quite a few people from New Zealand. That's pretty cool. Let's see, Scotland. Let's go. Let's go, Scotland. Sonoma, California, New Zealand. There's been there's one person spamming New Zealand, but there still were like 3 or 4 people. In his defense, I did say spam. That's funny. More Quebec. There's been 4 or 5 people from Puerto Rico. That's pretty cool. St. Louis, home base. Idaho, China, really.
That's awesome. Jesus
is in China. Let's see. Texas, Jupiter, very nice, Derek. All the way from Jupiter. You get the reward, I guess, for the longest, unless somebody can think of a planet that's past Jupiter. Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus. Lots of people from California. The handful of people from New Zealand doesn't surprise me a ton. YouTube does a pretty good job of kind of telling you where your top percentage of viewers are. And of course, as you can imagine, the largest percentage of our viewers are in the United States at some 75%. But when it breaks down the other 25% that's left, it doesn't always, unless you really dig into it, give you a ton of what those numbers are. It gives you the next couple big percentages. And sometimes New Zealand's up there above or with UK and Canada, which would be, our second biggest chunk. Mike says the chat is draining my battery.
Oh no!
That's funny. Wisconsin near Sheboygan. Is anybody here watching from Sheboygan? If you didn't watch today's mail time video, Hannah got a cup with Sheboygan inscribed in it. Mine does not say that. Can you see what it says? Hold on. Not really in focus there. I guess we can... Oh, baby. I love that that's laser etched. If you are the one that sent this and you're here, definitely comment and let us know. Rose says she's from a galaxy far, far away.
Yeah.
That's funny. Well, I appreciate you all being here. How many people we got? 160?
176.
Not bad, not bad. Woo! Well, let's talk a little bit about Mortal Kombat. Oscar Prank, great timing. He said Mortal Kombat was badass. I agree, but I think there's a lot to say about it because I think a lot of people looking for a pretty traditional movie experience with the Mortal Kombat movie probably didn't get much out of it. So you guys, that being said, you guys definitely comment below and let me know what you thought about it. We're not going to get too spoilery about it because there's no reason to. There's nothing to spoil, really. It's Mortal Kombat. You could have almost spent exactly much time playing the game and got almost the exact same experience.
There's a tournament, people fought.
Yeah. That's literally,
the whole story.
What did you, before I give my full thoughts on it, what did you think? Like, as someone who...
Okay. As someone who has literally never played a Mortal Kombat game.
Never, ever.
Ever.
Okay.
I know what Mortal Kombat is, but honestly, I didn't really know what Mortal Kombat was until you started game collecting. So I didn't really know anything about it. So I haven't watched the last movie, that's for sure. But this one, you kind of during the movie were like, oh, that's so-and-so. Oh, that's so-and-so. And I'm like, oh, okay, cool.
Right.
Not knowing anything about it, I totally understood it. It was
It was not hard.
Fine.
Yeah. Well, Rose says it was all right. I prefer playing the game, to be honest. Yeah, I mean, I really expected a lot of people to get that feeling, to just go, well, why wouldn't I just play it? It's the same thing. And Trey said it was as good as a Mortal Kombat movie could be. I agree. I think the only thing that could have made it better is if they had made a series out of it and actually attempted for story. But that's not what they were doing. They are going to attempt it. They said if this movie goes well, which they haven't really commented on, the numbers of views yet. They said they have like 3 or 4 sequels planned for it, which is pretty cool because there's still a whole lot more lore inside the video games as well as other characters to get to and stuff like that. The end of the movie set up one of the bigger characters that I would have loved to have seen in this one, but definitely hope to see in another one. But Mortal Kombat has always got, like, it's not even I can't say it got a bad rap. It's just always been about the fighting and very little about the lore and about the story. There's not a lot of Mortal Kombat games out there with much story at all. Honestly, the ones where they mix other universes with Mortal Kombat, like DC and Mortal Kombat and all that, those have more story than any Mortal Kombat game ever had. So I when I sat down and watched it, I got into it really quick, and I was like, you know what? This is there's a place for this where there are movies that are nothing but fan service.
Yeah.
A good video game related movie will come out and people will be like, oh, it tried too hard to do this or didn't do that. I feel like the people who made this movie literally said, we're going to make a Mortal Kombat movie that's all about Mortal Kombat. And they did. They could have very easily leaned too heavy into the story of one or two of the characters, and it got a little too weird and not been, I think, as clean as what it was. What are the people saying about it?
Steve T. Kreider said it felt rushed. Do you feel that way?
I feel like because in the first 10 minutes I felt very quickly that it was way more... I knew it was going to be light on story as soon as it started. Like, I got that feeling when it went right into the fighting and that kept up pace. I realized it was just going to be Mortal Kombat, and then I didn't need to worry about typical story aspects. So yeah, of course, sure, it was rushed. I'm not saying it's not, but like, it didn't bother me because it's like... I think the way I usually explain it, now this is coming from someone who has had a lot of English classes in his life. I majored in English in college and writing, and creative writing specifically. I've written commercial and film script. Writing story narrative is what I do. And it's a discussion I have very often with other writers about where the line is between having a narrative project, whether it be film or TV, or a book or a comic book. Where do you draw the line between making the movie an exercise in something or being just about story and narrative or something that's real life, okay? Because that's the two ends of the spectrum, and your movie, whenever you make a movie, it's going to be anywhere in between those two ends, okay? And so what I personally think about this movie is that it was the perfect example of something on this far end of the spectrum that is fan service. It is an exercise in something. Like, here's a good example of this. Christopher Nolan movies. They're actually, you might think that they're really heavy in story, but I disagree with that. I often think that they're not. A lot of some of them are. I think there's a lot of story inside of, like, The Prestige, the Magician one. But like the Batman stories, they're just really loose Batman stories. But what they usually are an exercise in something. Or if you think about Tenet, it is an exercise in manipulating the order of time in which its story is told. If you watch the movie he made before that, what was it called? Dunkirk?
Yeah. That
is a movie that is 3 stories. One of them happens in a minute, one of them happens in an hour, one of them happens in a day, but they interweave all 3 of those into one. It's an exercise in manipulating time to tell a story. Mortal Kombat was an exercise. And here you are in Tendo's English class. That's what's happening right now. Mortal Kombat movie was an exercise in making the fan service movie that they could, which I think was a good call on their part simply because comic book and/or video game movies have a hard time getting off the ground without doing something super out there like that. But what else are people saying about it?
Trey Price said it seemed very small, closed set, maybe because of the pandemic. You know, now that I think about it, there was really only like 4 sets in the whole play, the whole movie.
It'd be interesting to see. It's going to probably either be that, or it's going to be one of those things where they've. I don't know how many of you are going to be familiar with this, but the Star Wars, the new Mandalorian series, was all shot on the exact same stage, and the stage itself is this wonderfully brilliant backlit stage that it's all big giant TV screens around them, so that they set up the stages like that. And I kind of wonder if it wasn't one of those things where it was like a new age technology and they kept it all real small. But I don't know. We'll probably hear some behind the scenes stuff about it after that. So that's a pretty good question. But I don't know that we'll know that until there's some extra content about it out there on YouTube or whatever. What else?
Occam's Electric Toothbrush said the actual tournament portion of Mortal Kombat movie was an afterthought, he felt. What do you think?
Did they even really get to the tournament? I'm actually still kind of confused on that. It felt like they're setting up the action. They kind of got together and fight, but it was all still behind the rules. I think it was unclear. I think they're setting up for the tournament to actually happen in the second one.
Right. Yeah, and I think you're right, because whenever they came in, they were like, "We're gonna finish this before the tournament," and they kind of just started going.
Yeah, they were fighting each other, but that wasn't the sanctioned tournament. I think the second one will be way more tournament-y. And also, I'll tell you one little thing that maybe let me down. I have so much nostalgia for that old Mortal Kombat movie. I was hoping for a few more nods to it, and about the only thing I got it wasn't even Easter eggy, but the thing that I got that made me happy was that Goro was there for whatever brief second. However, Goro, he's the multi-arm Mortal Kombat dude. He's usually the big final boss, but he was just like kind of a
the first one out.
Yeah, he was like a throwaway character, but it was cool to see him. But that's funny. But yeah, that's kind of what I thought about it. Anybody else? Hey, Rick, what's up? Welcome. Glad you're here. It's nice to see that virtual boy icon in my chat. That's Rick, if you're here and you're listening, what did you think about Mortal Kombat, or have you watched it yet? I'd be interested. We haven't talked about it. I'd like to know what you think.
Well, I know that Mortal Kombat is a iconically brutal game, but my thought through the whole movie was like there could be about half as much blood in this and it would be completely fine.
For sure. And that was the
gory.
That was the funny thing watching it with you. You kept commenting on how gory it was, and I was like, it's real. And I said to you at one point, I stopped it, I paused it, I said, it's really hard to convey to you how much Mortal Kombat was about the gore. Like, this almost in some ways isn't enough.
Yeah.
You can go on YouTube and Google Mortal Kombat fatalities and see some we're talking guts being pulled out. I'm just going to humor me real quick. I'm going to search Mortal Kombat on my Game Collector app, and I want to see how many Mortal Kombat games that I have. I'm kind of curious. Does anybody else have anything to say?
We are still chatting about Rick being in the chat, so let me find a comment. Is it like Kill Bill gory?
I have 13 different Mortal Kombat games. Is it Kill Bill gory? It's probably on that level. I would say it's a little different.
Well, I made a comment. I was like, this is like Quentin Tarantino bloody. You're like, it's not Quentin Tarantino bloody. And I was like, I don't know. What do you think?
The level, I would say it's that level, yes, but it's also different because Kill Bill and Tarantino movies are more about the blood. You know what I mean? There's often some guts and weird stuff, but it's about how much blood can be sprayed and pumped out. This was like, go play Mortal Kombat. It was like final fatality, rip his guts out stuff. Or Jax's arms being ripped off, which is like a rite of passage for any.
Well, when you told me that his arms were definitely going to be ripped off, I was like, oh God, I don't know if I can deal with arm ripping. The way that they did it, I felt made it a little bit more easy to stomach.
Right. But I think it would have been different if you would have had the same feeling that someone like me would have when I turn it on. oh, that's Jax. His arms are going to get ripped off. Like,
Yeah.
I was ready for it from the moment he walked on screen. But as someone who hasn't really played it, you know. And yeah, Latino Lantern said Jack's wheelhouse punch did not happen. There's a lot of that kind of stuff that kind of, you want that fan servicey, what's the bicycle kick with Liu Kang. And
Yeah.
my favorite Mortal Kombat character is Raiden. So there's a whole bunch of Raiden stuff I was hoping for that kind of didn't come through. But
Is he your favorite character?
on Mortal Kombat, yeah, for sure.
You can play as him, right? Like, you can fight with him.
Yeah, in the
Cool.
game. But he's also, like, when you think of no spine fatality. But we did get, and honestly, it wasn't as awesome as the video game. We did get the Liu Kang, Hannah called this one out, the dragon biting the head off. Except it was really just flames burning the dude.
Yeah.
Which was interesting. In the game, it was like a thing of legends. It was almost a myth because nobody could pull it off. When I was a kid and you talked to your friends about playing Mortal Kombat, one of the, I think like the Sega one, you punch somebody, right? Do you understand this? And then it
Yeah.
says finish him.
Yeah.
You've got this like 6-second window to finish the character, right?
Like a power move.
And do your power move. So
Okay.
a lot of the times you do the fanciest thing you can think of, but every character on this game had this like special sequence if you pressed it just right. And it was like down, left, up, right, A, B, C, you know what I mean? Like it was hard to
Yeah.
get the timing right, but if you did it, Liu Kang would turn into a dragon and rip a dude's head off.
That's crazy.
And I remember people talking about this while I was growing up. And I never could do it. When Google came around, I Googled the cheat to do it. I never could make it happen. But yeah, I was happy to see that was there though.
Was Sub-Zero as, like, OP as he was in this movie in the game?
Well, everyone in the game itself is pretty equal.
Okay.
It's just like any fighting game. It's whether or not you've practiced enough to be good at a character. It's just like Super Smash, right?
Yeah,
Well,
that makes
maybe that's
sense.
not a good example because people do consider some characters in Super Smash to be a little
Yeah.
OP, but it's very similar to that. I was hoping for Raiden. Silly yell flying, yeah, lots of little stuff like that. And someone said that they wanted to hear "Get Over Here" more than once. And I agree, but I think they probably struggled with that a little bit because the movie started in Chinese and Japanese, which is a whole nother interesting thing. They made it very clear to you that that Sub-Zero in the first scenes was switching between Chinese and Japanese, and it was
Yeah.
kind of confusing. But I think because he was already a Japanese speaker and then he just showed up all of a sudden with English, it was probably just a weird thing narratively that they just had it once. But I'm definitely interested to see how his character is involved in the next ones because he was just in hell for 4,000 years.
Yeah.
And now he's back, and he controls the fire of hell. So
Is he back, or was he just, like, summoned for that bit and now he goes back to hell? Like,
that's a good question. I don't know. It's really all up in the air. I mean, that's what you get when you have a movie that's so loose narratively. But I guess the last thing I can say about it, and look for any other good comments about it, it's kind of confusing to think of how to say it. There's a lot of things in the movie that, you could see the story going places. But I don't know if there's 4 more of them, whether I hope they keep on doing the same or dig into the story. I don't know. There's a lot of it I'd like to see story, but I don't think there's any way they would they would have room for story unless they made a series out of it. Which I'm actually kind of confused about because, it's a streaming service and movies are good, and I get they want to get back into making movies now that COVID's hopefully gonna be over, knock on wood. But I don't know how they do it with just 4 more hour-and-a-half long movies. I hope we get an announcement that it was successful and they're going to do a series. That's all I'm going to say. There's a cheat code that turned blood on for Super Nintendo. Yeah, that was another thing. Nintendo didn't like the level of brutality when the first one came out.
well, that's a clever way to incorporate it without getting your parents upset at the company. Like, well, I mean, you can do it, but it's kind of like you got to figure out how to do it.
Yeah, Donald says 3 more movies coming. I couldn't remember if it was 3 or 4.
Oh, wow, okay.
And thanks, Derek, for letting us know. We just hit 200 viewers. You guys that are just rolling in, hit the like button before we go too much further. But yeah, I think that's enough said about that. I was happy that it was made. There's a long-standing accepted norm now that video game movies suck and aren't going to do well. and I kind of want to give a round of applause for the movie makers for just making literally a video game movie.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
It was entertaining.
Yeah,
So it was
I
good.
appreciate that. Let's talk not as much as we just did about Mortal Kombat, but just a little bit about Falcon and Winter Soldier. I don't want to spoil what happened in it, so I don't really know how to talk about it. But I guess we could you guys just talk in generalities about it if any of you watched it. Because I mean, we can start with you, Hannah, because you didn't. It's not that you disliked it as much as you loved.
Yeah, I wasn't as enthralled with it. Whenever it was on, it would lose my attention really quickly. And so I didn't get captivated like I did with WandaVision.
Right.
Like, WandaVision was like a spectacle. You're like, what is happening? Why is it happening? And where is this going? I'm confused.
Right.
So, like, you didn't want to look away. But this one, it felt like a Marvel movie. Like, I know there's going to be action, and like there were times where there was no talking for like 10 minutes because they were all just fighting. And like
Right.
it's just Marvel.
Yeah. Well, I think you liked WandaVision more than any other Marvel thing you'd seen. You said this to me once.
Yeah.
And so this wasn't so much as it was bad as it was.
Just not what I wanted.
Yeah, it's just back to norms.
Yeah.
And it pretty much was. I will say there was a whole lot of. Joe says he hasn't finished it yet, so again, we won't do any spoilers. We'll probably talk about it more next week because there's a lot about the social commentary and some other things inside of it that I liked. And there's also, you know how I just gave that Tendo's English class about the spectrum on which you can put narrative and spectacle. Mm-hmm. Is probably a better way to put it than I really put it earlier, but there's also like an English storytelling narrative discussion about this, about Falcon and Winter Soldier that is really, I think that would be interesting to have, and I think we'll have it next week, so the rest of you can catch up and watch it. But it's messed up because they shot a bunch of stuff that had to be taken out because of COVID. Mm-hmm. Some stuff that didn't get shot, but also there was basically a whole storyline inside of Falcon and Winter Soldier about a virus. And they didn't know about COVID, and then COVID happened. So we'll talk about all that next week. But there's some really interesting stuff to talk about how to squeeze a story around because of weird mess ups like that I think we'll have. But I want to go ahead and just say I liked it. But I think most of us are just happy that the Loki show's here because I'm sure it's going to blow everything out of the water.
I'm really excited about that one. Loki is one of those intriguing characters where you're just like, I need to know what's going to happen.
Latino Lantern, Raiden yell. Thank you for that. Appreciate it. Did you donate that just so I would yell it? Because I'm down.
That was better. Definitely.
Yeah, I literally pronounced all of it. Loki will be better. I mean, it will. And you know what? It's hard to say better, worse, and this is going to be the natural conversation for all this. You guys have to understand, the way they're planning this is that there's going to be a new Marvel episode every day or every week for the rest of our lives.
Yeah.
And I think that's really bad, personally. So that's going to constantly invite that kind of conversation. Well, this was better, that was better. I think it'll all be better from here because these first two shows we just watched, well, Loki's going to be this way too a little bit, but not as bad. All of these shows are suffering from COVID-related issues.
Yeah.
And,
the whole entertainment industry kind of.
Yeah, and Marvel and Disney are not usually used to those kind of constraints, so it'll be good. I was in grade 5 when Mortal Kombat 3 came out. That's awesome. I had to... well, how does that make you? Because I was... wait, what? You guys are all talking about something. 95 was the greatest year.
Well, someone brought up the Mighty Ducks TV show, which we haven't watched. We haven't... Do you know what streaming service that's on?
Which one?
The new Mighty Ducks TV show?
Yeah, Disney.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Well, we're definitely going to watch that. I'm glad you brought that back up because I kept seeing the comments about it. That's definitely something we'll watch and probably a couple weeks from now talk a little bit about as well because it's definitely the kind of thing we're into. But Bartley said, agreed, Hannah, when I was watching the show, I felt comfortable walking away from the show and let it continue playing in the background.
Honestly, I think I did that for literally half of the season. It was just like you were watching it and I was like, I'm going to go grab that thing in the kitchen and then do dishes.
I probably did it a little bit too, but that's because I'll be honest with you. I pretty much just half pay attention to it and do a little work while it's on.
Yeah.
And then the next day I watch the new Rockstar's video on YouTube. Does anybody else do that? Just because, like, I don't have that deep of a comic book knowledge. All of my comic book knowledge is DC from the early 2000s and Marvel from the late 90s. And there's a little bit of correlation between these two things. But even my knowledge of that stuff was only skin deep. Falcon and the Winter Soldier was very well done. I think you can always pull apart and not pick fandoms. However, the storytelling and emotion was well done. I agree. And I think the social commentary that came into play at the end of it was really good too.
I thought it was good timing. Yeah.
Well, the second to last, the whole Isaiah Washington thing, the older Captain America, I hope he somehow continues to be around in the further Marvel universe because he was really good and a really great actor. Let's see. Check out the new TV show. Big Shot is great too. I'll have to give that a Google. I don't know. I haven't heard about that one. Dallas looks like he's going to Japanese school. You got that right.
You look like the captain of a Furby cruise.
These are my minions.
These are all the waiters. They're going to be bringing you everything you need. Food, towels, whatever.
Yeah, and a lot of people are kind of going back and forth. I love WandaVision. I liked both. Here's my final thought on it, okay? And you can put a final stamp on it if you've got one too, Hannah. But I'm just excited to have this much Marvel content coming. The first 5-10 years of it, don't get me wrong. Every Marvel movie that's come out, I go to the theater and see it. But I never got quite to the point of obsession until they announced these Marvel shows. And then I actually went back and rewatched all the Marvel Universe stuff, got into a little bit more, started watching some channels like New Rockstars who picks all these things apart, which I highly recommend to. Go to YouTube when this show's over and search for New Rockstars. And there's a lot of explaining content out there just about Marvel content. So check it out. But my final thought is good, bad, ugly, mediocre. I'm so glad all this is coming. I think all the trailers for the new, I'm not going to pronounce it, the 10 Rings, Shinzu and the 10 Rings, I don't know how to pronounce it, and Loki and all the stuff that's coming up. I'm just 1 hour a week. It's almost as good as a new Marvel movie every week. I mean, it's like 80% of that, which is not saying anything. Do you have any final thoughts on it?
Well, I feel like WandaVision totally changed everything, like in how I look at Marvel. Like, because with the Marvel movies, you kind of know what you're getting into.
Yeah.
You know, this is going to be a lot of action. It's going to be a lot of like, we have to defend the world. And then WandaVision was like, forget everything you know. Let's do something entirely different. And then you like, honestly, whenever that came out, I was like, I don't think I'm going to be into this, but I liked it a lot more than I thought I would. So whenever Falcon Winter Soldier came out, it was like, all right, we did that. Now we're going to go back to what it was. And then it threw me for a loop. I was like, all right.
Well, I want you to continue, but I want to clarify what you're saying. When you said it changed everything, do you just mean simply that narrative plot of using sitcoms changed everything? Or what about it changed everything?
Yeah, it was like using that to start a TV series.
Yeah.
And like watching Marvel in a TV setting.
Right.
It kind of made me almost expect that kind of feel to it. So whenever they went back to like, okay, we took a Marvel movie, like the normal thing, and then split it up into a TV show.
Right.
It was just kind of, it was an adjustment that I didn't expect to need.
Right.
Like, it was, so, I don't know. It was good. I will say that. But I'm ready for Loki to be something a little bit different again.
Right.
That's kind of my takeaway.
You're hoping that in the same way that WandaVision went out of their way to be different, you're hoping Loki kind of does it too?
Correct. Because now it's like, I've seen what a Marvel movie split up into a TV show looks like.
That's actually a really good point. WandaVision was, just to tie this all together here, it was way more on this end of the spectrum that we previously discussed as being a spectacle rather than being narrative driven.
Yeah.
Right? Because it was a spectacle of cramming Marvel movies into sitcom form.
Right.
And I would say that probably puts Winter and Falcon Soldier not all the way to the other end of the normal narrative spectrum, but way there. It's way more about the legacy of Captain America, et cetera, et cetera. So hopefully maybe Loki's somewhere in the middle.
Maybe, yeah. That would be good.
You guys didn't show up today expecting an English class, did you? Boom! Okay, Green Lantern has a question. This is a good little segue. When will Game Informer be cataloged and showcased, and when does the bread truck get an AC unit from the bins? The Game Informer set is right here. Actually, my uncategorized ones are over here, and my categorized ones are over here. It'll be in the next few weeks. I'm not making any promises, but actually, you guys make sure your notifications are turned on for this channel, because our video tomorrow is a trade-in haul video, which is actually something I want to talk a little bit about before we move into the next topic of the night. I want to talk video games a little bit. Now, don't anybody run away. If you're not into video games, that's fine. I want you guys to comment below. This would actually be a really big help for us and what we're doing, knowing where you guys are at with the video games, because there are a lot of video game people here on our channel. There are a lot of thrifting people here on our channel. There are a lot of people that are into our travel videos, and I'll be honest with you, first and foremost, I'm very excited to continue to have a channel where we can continue to cram everything we do into what we do every day, and this channel just ends up being a vlog. A lot of people might tell their friends about this channel they like with Tendo and Hannah that is a thrifting channel, and that's fine, because obviously we do a lot of thrifting. But for us, it's a vlog about what we do. That being said, we're always constantly finding ways to try to squeeze different aspects of what we want to do in. Hannah and I like collecting video games. Hannah, more even than me, likes playing the video games we buy. So we're always trying to find a way to comfortably, for us, squeeze stuff into this channel. Now, that being said, I think I have to take a drink out of that every time I say it. That being said, tomorrow's episode is a trade-in video where we trade in some very specific things for video games. I actually have a plan for, if not next week's trade-in video, maybe the week after, to be a trade-in with Game Informers. Go ahead and put these on mute.
Yeah.
Hit that mute button. Oh, throw me down! I'm going to trade in my extra ones, because I probably have 100 plus extra Game Informers that are doubles, and I have been selling them in our antique mall, but I have this kind of clever, I think I've got a store that's going to give me $1 a piece for them. So wouldn't it be pretty cool to trade 100 Game Informers in for $100 a video game? So that was a good segue, though. Let's see. A lot of people were just saying, I love video games, which is, again, that's helpful. What's up, guys? We just got here after getting off work, but that tie looks awesome. Bruh. Hannah tried to convince me to do no vest so that the tie would have better rain. But I love this vest so much because Hannah customized it for me. Maybe I can do tie over the vest. Is that weird?
I mean...
Is that weird? I mean...
It's you, dude.
The guy who wore a short-sleeved suit last week's asking if it's weird.
I know. That's what I'm saying.
Let's see. Zombie Ate My Neighbors is hands down the best game ever. I mean, it sounds like a good game. Let's play video games. You guys want to just cancel the rest of the stream, play video games? Oh, actually, if you want to see us play some video games, there's a link pinned at the top of the chat. You can go watch us play video games after this. I watch this channel for video games and thrifting and antique malls. What am I saying? I love all the nonsense you guys could vlog watching paint dry and still be entertaining. We've done a lot. We haven't done any lately, but we've done a lot of painting of shelves, etc.
Yeah, we have actually put a lot of painting in.
I don't know the last time I said this on the channel. This shelf, and this shelf. These three in this corner, so they're all on camera. Those came yellow from IKEA. The other 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 in here, and the other 20 spread across our antique malls, we painted. And by we, I mean about 75% Hannah, about 25% me. Because I start doing it. She's like, you're doing a terrible job. Let me do it.
You make me sound like a tyrant.
I mean, when you got to do something right, it's got to be done right. When are we going to see Toy Story Racing? That's a good question. So this kind of brings up a more important conversation with the gaming stuff, okay? Because we got a lot of people saying they're either fine with it or they're here for it, which is, they're both good responses. I would have expected a few more people to say I'm not really interested. But even then, our hope is that most of the people, or at least I usually shoot for half, if half of the people that subscribe to us just kind of like what we're doing, or just kind of here for whatever, that makes us the most comfortable. Once a week, I would say, you know, as you would expect more than this on YouTube, but once a week there's somebody who's like, I'm so tired of video games, talk more about something else, or, you know, talk more about antique malls, talk more. And those people, it's usually the same 10 people, and they do it once a week, and it's just kind of whatever. But we kind of have this struggle on this channel where we have so many interests that it makes our channel confusing for new subscribers, right? If you've only been here for a day or two and you watched yesterday's episode and you were like, this is the coolest thrifting video I've ever seen, that's pretty cool, but then you get a notification for tomorrow's video and it's just big old me buying video games. Don't get me wrong, I understand how this can be confusing for YouTube's algorithm. So we have a second channel where we put more gaming content. And this is even confusing just to explain to people because I'm still buying video games on this channel.
Yeah.
I will always buy video games on this channel. You can't see them, but there's some brand new fancy video games on this shelf right here that you'll see on tomorrow's episode. And it's like the highlight of my week to be able to bring home those good video games. Now playing them, we used to on this channel every now and then put out second videos, right? You would watch our thrifting video at 3 a.m. in the morning and about 3 p.m. in the afternoon, you'd be able to watch us playing Mario Kart or something like this. And this actually harmed our channel. It made our regular videos start doing worse because YouTube was going, all of a sudden, hey, wait, you're posting videos that are getting 800 views instead of your normal 2,000.
Yeah.
That doesn't look good. So we stopped doing that. We started putting them on, well, we just stopped doing it. Then we started another channel and we realized there was a place to start posting more video gameplay on that second channel. So we've been doing that. And a lot of people also are kind of like, well, why did you start another channel? It's kind of, but it's like, it's not for everybody. If you're not video game people, don't go subscribe to our other channel. Now also, I've really struggled with whether or not to even say anything about this. And Hannah, be paying attention to the comments because if anyone has anything good to say, I want to hear it. But I want to talk a little bit more about this. We actually started a channel today for Minecraft specific videos. Now, I struggled with even saying anything about this, and I don't think you're going to hear me say anything about it on our regular channel or on our regular channel videos. But Hannah and I play so much Minecraft, it's kind of gross. Owns 3,000 video games, only plays Minecraft. That's what they're going to say on my tombstone. But even like this is really important part of this conversation because not only do we do so much random stuff on our main channel that, you know, I'd say half of every other person that watches cares about the video games. I'd say even less than half of those people, those video game people, even care about Minecraft. So it's like, once again, it's difficult to start posting Minecraft videos on our second channel because nobody watches them. So Hannah and I both agreed we kind of wanted to have something to experiment with and grow a channel aside from this one. So we're going to be posting some Minecraft videos on a channel that's, it is linked in the chat right now. You can go check it out. But I don't want you to if you're not into Minecraft. Seriously, because what we're actually going to do with that channel is play it and put hashtags on it for Minecraft specific stuff and just see if it grows on its own. Because we're going to be playing anyways. It doesn't hurt me to capture that stuff and upload it. That's kind of the simple about it. Tall Gamer says they're about to start a Minecraft realm. Well, if you even know what a Minecraft realm is, this other channel is perfect for you. But I'm all about watching Minecraft streams, videos to start a server. We will. That will very much so be part of this other channel. But it's really important to us actually that we don't bog this channel down with it even more. Because there's a lot of people that hear when we've got this channel, okay? We've got second channel, Rubber Duck Yellow, where gaming stuff goes, right? And Hannah, tell me if I'm missing anything. I have a channel where I post my films that I've made, which is a really important channel to me. What else do we have? We have a channel where clips from this podcast go to exclusively, and this is one that confused people. I shouldn't have even shared it, but what happens is people search Tendo. I actually get a printout sometimes that tells me what was I saying? You guys have to forgive me. You kind of can't see it, but I have a chat here for the first time, so I actually haven't done a live show yet, just sitting here reading you guys' chat, so every time I look over and see something, I go, oh, what was I talking about? But Minecraft channel, we're going to be putting some stuff on there, and we are going to let it grow on its own. That's basically the sum of it.
Yeah.
If I think of what I was trying to say, I'll go back to it. But
well, I mean, people in the chat have been pretty positive about it all. I mean, even if they aren't into Minecraft, they're like, well, I think it doesn't hurt to do it because there's definitely a audience for it.
Oh,
so.
There's a stupid big audience for it. It's kind of crazy. The video we posted, it's already got a big handful of views for a channel that had no subs before today started. Here's what I was going to say. I think people get confused because we have a channel where clips from this podcast go to, and it's all about search terms. The best way that a channel is going to get views, or new views specifically, is if people just search something that makes their channel come up. So what I've learned is that so many people just go search for Tendo. I'm actually tripping. So look at the numbers. We got 200 people here.
Yep.
That's actually not bad for a channel with 10,000 subs. A channel with 1 million subs goes live. They're lucky sometimes to get a couple thousand people watching. Right. This is how the YouTube numbers work. But the people who aren't watching, they go search Tendo because they're too lazy to go over to their tab and click on my face. I'm fooling those people into watching short clips. So you can go look in this video's description and sub to it if you want to. It doesn't matter if you do or not, because this other channel I'm talking about, it's not about subs. It's just about getting extra views for this content we're making. I will actually take the whole clip of us talking about Mortal Kombat, and it will be up on the Clips channel tomorrow. And so if anybody searches Tendo, one of the top videos that may show up is just us talking about Mortal Kombat, and they're likely to click on it because they're like, oh, I'll watch this about Mortal Kombat from Tendo. So, and you'll actually see a lot of podcast channels or people with podcasts do this because it's a way to hack YouTube to get extra views. But when people go, oh, you have 7 channels, that's confusing. It really isn't once you break it down, right? We play Minecraft, we put it on there. We really only have 2 channels.
Yeah.
We have this channel, we have Rubber Duck Yellow. The others are just auxiliary.
Yeah, they're just what we're doing anyway.
Yeah, just to make some extra credit. So what else we got?
This might be my favorite comment ever. Jade Bartley says, my family are Minecraft people. My Nana even plays, but she doesn't do survival. She says she can't run fast enough. Plus, she can't remember where her house is before it turns dark.
That's Hannah.
Same.
When you not know where your house is, I have to go find her all the time.
It was bad today. I don't even know how it happened. I was like, I am super lost.
This person said, "Can your Nana adopt me?" Same. I'd love to have a Nana playing Minecraft. Listen, I tweeted the other day. I haven't tweeted but twice in the last 5 years. I tweeted the other day. It was my best tweet ever. I just said, I wish that I could get more of my gaming friends to realize that Minecraft is, above all else, a place to go to do hood rat things with your hood rat friends. Except I use some explicitives in there because it's Twitter. Why not? It's not, people, there's so many hardcore gamers watching our channel that have never given Minecraft the time of day. And I was one of these people. I got back, you guys are going to think I'm crazy, but I actually got back into video games because all of my siblings at once and their children were all playing Fortnite. And I was like, okay, I'll play with you. And I, for the first time, had this super great gaming experience in my adulthood, enjoying playing a game with others. And I thought, I'm not saying this channel has Fortnite to thank, but that is something that sucked me back into gaming and built this PC that we're streaming to you guys on for that. And I loved it. I loved the time that I had with my friends. But the very quick follow-up to that was playing Minecraft with even more friends, because Minecraft is a game you can get on and play with 100 people if you know what you're doing. So all that being said, someone did say, the person that said the thing about I'm not really into, remind me to come back to Ark Survival. I want to talk about that in a second too. Someone mentioned it. But I want to play Minecraft so much sometimes it's crazy, but I want more people to play with us. And that's why I always preach it. I preach Minecraft because it is a community place to hang out as much as it is to just play some dumb game. And I see it all the time when we finally convince people to play with us. When they finally see the kind of shenanigans we can get up to, they go, I want to do this all the time. It is really a thing that happens. Tall Gamer says, I've played Minecraft since it started. Can't wait till the big update. Yes, there's a lot of that. The guy, you guys, if you remember Patrick, he was on our earlier videos on this channel. We're playing Minecraft with him. He's always a part of everything we do Minecraft related still, because it's still the one thing we can do together across the country. And he was playing. He played the beta before it came out. He tells me crazy stories about how it used to be that are always really good. Vanilla Minecraft was a pretty crazy place. But do we have any other comments? The only thing that killed Minecraft for me was working in a classroom for 3 years with students who wouldn't stop talking about it. I can understand that because my nephews are that way. What were you going to say, Hannah?
I was just hovering over the Ark Ark Survival.
Oh, so you remember? Well, so Ark Survival, my friend Patrick, who I just mentioned, played it for a little while, and it's just adult Minecraft. It's like, it's really hard to explain to people, but it's a whole nother world-building sandbox type game. And I highly recommend it to people if you're into that kind of thing. I'll play on a realm. I love it. Well, that's kind of what we're hoping for. If you're watching and you're into Minecraft at all, go subscribe to that other channel because we'll be doing a lot of weird community stuff over there. And this is what's fun about that. We're probably going to have like 500 subs before the month's over on it. And that means like maybe 100 views when we post a video on there once a week. But Minecraft can be such a community-driven thing that I can't wait to have people that do view that channel participate in some community stuff that we do. Let's see. Love the Old Republic and WoW. I've probably put a total of 4 or 5 hours total into WoW my life, but I did like it. I did enjoy my time. Matter of fact, go to our Rubber Duck Yellow channel. There's another one of the funniest videos we ever made was a World of Warcraft video whenever WoW Vanilla came back out.
Yeah.
That was a lot of fun. But the Old Republic I did play. I did level up a character all the way to the top once, and it was a good time too, but that's all I ever played it. Difficult Minecraft is pretty accurate. My kids and nephew burned me out on Fortnite. I mean, we all got burnt out on Fortnite. And it's kind of sad too, because the thing I liked about Fortnite was just playing with everyone on Earth. It was just a good time.
It was just a wild time in our life that like everybody was playing the same video game. It was like that in Pokemon Go when it first came out. Just everybody playing it.
Yeah.
It was pretty wild.
Yeah, well, that's what, a lot of people will crap on Minecraft, or I'm sorry, I'll kill somebody crapping on Minecraft. But people crapping on Fortnite because of this or that, I don't care. It was just fun to play with that many people. YouTube is community. It can be. It certainly can be. Not seeing a link in the so the link is not in the description yet. We literally started this channel basically today, so it's not in the description. But in the chat, if you look at the top of your chat, there'll actually be a pin. So depending on what device you're watching this on, that might be difficult for you. If not, it's go to our Discord. It's linked in there as well. Or if not, it should be in the link, the video's description for tomorrow's video. I'll make sure it's there. 21 subscriptions, including me on your channel. Well, that's good because before we started the stream, it was like 5. So thank all of you that did subscribe. But again, you guys don't just try to flatter us or be our homies for this one. If you're not into it, don't subscribe. It's not something I'm just looking for numbers. It's just something that I'm excited to see grow into something else. Because, you guys have heard me on this channel talk several times. I mean, probably every live show we've done about how we have some really lofty, ambitious goals for our channel and channels in the future. This is the same kind of thing. I would love for this Minecraft channel to blow up, for me to hire someone to be the main Minecraft person so that we can just play Minecraft twice a week, right? Capture it, somebody else edit it and continue to make the content, and it just be another spinning plate that we're holding up.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Well, someone made a joke that you're going to have as many channels as you have Furby at some point. And I feel like, we've had lengthy conversations about different channel ideas, different things that we wanted to do, and where our future ends up with channels. So,
well, we will. We'll have way more channels than probably you would think at right now we should. We won't have any more anytime soon now because there's just a certain way in which I know what time I have to edit what and what I can keep going. But there are a lot of channels or channel groups out there on YouTube that you can watch. You'll see that someone does this right. And the example I always use is Linus Tech Tips. Mm-hmm. If you're not into computers and computer gaming and building and stuff, you're probably not going to have heard of these guys, but they're a Canadian group, Linus Media Group, and they have a channel that they have up to 20 million subs now because they've been around for a while and they do a big thing. But they also have about a dozen more channels with various kinds of content. And the hope is not that you can always just squeeze your audience into watching more videos. A lot of people will accuse us of this if they see us create more and more channels. The hope is to grow a wider audience with different forms of media. So that's why, with this channel in particular, it's not one, like I said, I might say little blurbs about it sometimes on our main channel, but you're not going to hear me just drive it home like I do our Discord and our second channel, which I describe or suggest people go check out on our main channels, right? I'm not going to drive it home because this one is not, I don't want all 10,000 of our subs to go subscribe to this channel because I don't want a channel with 10,000 subs and 100 people watching.
Yeah.
I want that channel to get to 500 subs with 500 people watching.
Yeah, I mean, that's the goal.
Yeah, and it'll be really lit when that happens. All right. Well, what else do you guys want to talk about? Hannah Sewing channel. Yeah, I mean that's obviously going to be another one. But there's even a really even bigger conversation to that we're not going to have now. Mm-hmm. It's not so much Hannah start a channel so that there's a channel with Hannah as it is, well, we're starting these channels now to build them into something huge with employees later.
Yeah.
Is the idea. And obviously I don't want to get into that too much because we're a channel with 10,000 subs talking about hiring employees. We're just not there yet, but we're working on it. We still play Pokemon Go at my work. There is a glitch spot that has like 5 Pokestops and 2 gyms nearby. That's wild.
That's crazy.
Get all the miles in for sure. Let's see. What is the button on Dallas's lapel? I can show you that right here. I think the best way to show it will be here if I can squeeze it in. That's actually a Power Ranger emblem. That's all 5 Megazord animals. And I quite like this one. And it's not a button. It's actually a pin. It's just huge. I put it on and Hannah's like, what button are you wearing? I was like, it does look like a button, doesn't it?
It's so massive.
It is. One of you guys sent it to me though, and I like it. Let's see. I haven't played Minecraft in forever. Then your video came out and bam, mining endlessly for hours. That's what it does.
I know.
And that's kind of the other thing too about this other channel. If we stop playing Minecraft for a little while, it's not a big deal. I don't care. I just want that channel to be a place where we put some content. Like I get a little nervous on our second channel even when like I don't post for a couple weeks because it looks like I'm just giving up, but it's not. The last video I posted on our second channel took me 3 weeks to make, working really hard on it. So it's kind of become a channel where I'm putting fancier videos, because our daily videos are fun and I've gotten into a habit of editing them to be a little bit fancy. But let's be honest, they're not fancy. They're clips of what we did today chopped up, and that's that. But thank you. She said, I love your pins and buttons. I do too. I've got a lot of them. I've got a whole lot. I actually changed it 2 or 3 times for today. I had a Venom one I wanted to rock, but it wasn't jiving with this black suit. It was just getting lost, so I put this one on. All my Pokemon Go stops are far apart. Yeah, I would probably play it more if we had more stops here, but we have next to no stops here.
Yeah, it's really a shame.
Yeah, it kind of sucks. You still kind of play on and off, don't you?
Yeah, I do. For maybe up until last week, I was like pretty much opening it up every single day, getting my my daily reward thing in, and just casually playing.
Here's a question I really want to answer. Tendo, was there a reason that your Big Blue Duck and Super Mario 3 sign were upside down in your recent video? Should I answer this?
Sure.
I mean,
it's a short answer.
It's a real short answer. My black Wii up there is upside down. Can you tell on this screen? Barely?
Yeah.
I put it up there a year and a half ago and it hasn't moved. And people will comment on that kind of thing because it bugs them, but it's kind of one of those like, I don't know how to say this without sounding crazy, but basically, for the longest time, I had this real fun game where anytime anyone commented about it being upside down, I would turn something else upside down. And I started doing that again this week. So,
honestly, the Mario 3 thing being upside down was really just because we opened that door and it fell off, and then you just hurriedly put it back, and it just ended up upside down.
Well, I put it on upside down, and I was like,
meh.
Cool. You will not find me to be someone who has any sort of tendencies that leads that to bother me at all. But it did get to a point where I used to do this where half of everything in this room was upside down. It was pretty great.
It's a rabbit hole.
Yeah, it's a fun game to play. Let's see. I'm a day 1 Pokemon Go player, and it breaks my heart that I'm considering giving it up. Again, I'm interested in your reasoning for giving it up. You just kind of get tired of it, or does it just seem endless? There's a lot of things people would say to answer that question. But for me, I just enjoyed it because everyone was playing it. That's who I am as a person. The personality type that repels me the most is that person, and I'm sure you all know one of these people, and if you don't, it's because it's you. But we all know a person that has a personality type that just dislikes something when it's popular.
Yeah.
There are a lot of people that Pokemon Go and Fortnite brought this out in. I don't want to play that stupid. That's not me. If a billion people love something, I want to find out why and love it with them and and talk about it with them.
I feel like you're less of the norm in that way. Like, I remember being that way when I was in elementary and middle school, too. And I know Patrick was that way, too, because we talk about it a lot whenever he was living here, that he was like, oh, I don't like that. And I was like, well, have you tried it? And I'm like, no, I'm not going to try that. And it's like, oh, okay.
Yeah. Well, I never trust a person that says something's overrated.
Yeah.
And not that Patrick is that way, but people in general, if we're in a conversation like, oh, it's overrated, and it's like, I'm not gonna listen to anything else you say, because it doesn't really work that way. You're saying to me, a billion people like this thing, but you get to decide it's overrated over this. It just doesn't make sense this way. But I'm saying this because Pokemon Go was great, I think. But the thing that only kept me in was when everyone was playing. Now that everyone's off of it, it's not something I do with other people anymore.
Yeah.
So I don't have as much interest in it on my own. But I know a lot of people kept playing, especially a lot of people that like Pokemon. It was a really fun game for them. What would you say is the hardest game system for you to find? For me, it's N64. Well, it was 3DO until a few weeks ago. I've been collecting for 2 years, and I have like 15 games. Outside of that, though, I don't know. There's basically Wii and PlayStation 2 that's super easy, and everything else is on pretty equal footing after that for me personally. Let's see. Tendo's a 5-year-old with a work ethic in a giant's body.
Yeah.
I could take that. Kids are overrated.
Lol.
Unfortunately, they're quite necessary. I'm that type. I always stay away from things when they are a big deal. Kingdom, what does that say? Kingdomas
I don't know.
Were the exception. Did you all watch the new Mortal Kombat movie? You're gonna have to rewind this video for that. We talked about it at length. Or if not, check out our clips channel tomorrow, and you can watch just the clip of the Mortal Kombat conversation. But yeah, that's something, that one of these days we'll have to do a segment on our show. Listen, we keep this channel really positive, and that's definitely by design. We try to keep our lives positive in general and stuff, but things get on our nerves too. So we will definitely have to do a segment one of these days where we just talk about the things that annoy us. I'd love to see you in that segment.
It'd be a very toxic segment.
No, it wouldn't. I mean, I even know how to put the positive spin on it. I mean, because seriously, like that conversation, people have a personality trait where they think disliking things because other people like them defines them.
Yeah.
And that's worth talking about. I don't even have to be that negative about it. Let's see. What kind of advice would you give to someone that has never been to the bins before? My best advice I always give, when you ask that, people are always going to throw a bunch of technical stuff at you. The best thing you can know when going to the bins for the first time is to be patient while you're there and watch what other people do. And for once in your life, it's a good opportunity to do what the crowd's doing.
Yeah.
Because you're going to very easily find yourself in a zone, in a space, or doing something specific that you shouldn't be doing, because it's very easy to break the rules in a place like that. So just kind of chill out your first time and figure out what the rules are, because every binge you're going to go to, the rules are going to be wildly different. Anything to add to that?
Yeah, I mean, breaking the rules there isn't going to be the end of the world. You will inevitably break one of them, and they will tell you, and it's fine. You just didn't know, and you just move on with your day, and it's totally fine. I mean, I know the first time we went there, we ended up on the wrong side of the shopping area, and they were like, this area's closed, you need to go over there. We were like, oh, cool, sorry, no big deal. And so just, pay attention, know what everybody else is doing, and just take your time. Don't be afraid to dig through stuff, and if you don't find something, it's totally fine. It's kind of more about the experience, I feel.
Right. Someone said something about one of the Power Rangers they sent us on the shelf. Yes, I put every Power Ranger on the shelf. I need a new shelf just for Power Rangers.
It's like dominoed in there.
Someone else asked if we're coming to Illinois anytime soon. Northern Illinois. We're going to Chicago soon.
Everyone's excited about pants.
He's mad. He doesn't want to be held right now.
He has been sleeping under the bed all day.
Literally all day.
So he just came out.
He came out to put hair on my suit. Well, what else do you guys want to talk about before we got here? I hit the major things. The major things for me were just talking about Mortal Kombat, Falcon, Winter Soldier. I want to talk a little bit about Minecraft, so I'm glad we touched on that. We can do a few more questions before we get out of here. If you guys got anything specific that you want to talk about, let us know. We'll answer a few questions. But that cat has been sleeping. I mean, he didn't budge all day.
Yeah.
What? Don't you walk over here.
Well, yesterday we were home for a lot of the day, so he needed his beauty rest. We kept him awake all day yesterday.
He's just over here rubbing on my legs. The lady at our bins yells about what people are doing wrong. Nowhere are these rules listed. She has stopped rotation for 2 hours if someone isn't following her rule.
This is the hard thing.
That's pretty normal.
The rules aren't going to be posted. It's kind of just a collective know. Like, you're supposed to just know these things.
And a lot of bins you'll go to, you'll find the rules change on a day-to-day basis too.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter if they're posted or not. Just do what you're told and try to keep your head down. That's really a situation where you've got to do that. Amy Cummings wants to talk about pricing at our booth. That could be summed up really simple. That doesn't need to be a whole conversation. Whatever it's selling for on eBay, which is to say what it's actually sold for, not what it's listed for. I put every item a few dollars below that, or a ratio below that.
Yeah.
If it's 5, I put it for 4. If it's 20, I put it for 18.
If it's like a really banging piece that will sell for full asking price, like no problem, then it's fine. Like sometimes we'll keep it up at eBay prices, but for the most part, just a little less.
Someone asked, is there a PAL game that you really want for your collection? You know, this gets asked a lot, and sometimes I forget what my answer normally is. I have Super Mario Brothers 3 complete in box over here on my shelf. I'd love to find 1 and 2 complete in box. That's probably tip-top number 1 thing I'd like to find right now. Next live show, can you put batteries in all of your Furbies? You know, that wouldn't be a bad idea for a live show. Well, it won't be in the next one because I'm not gonna go out next week and buy $300 worth of batteries. But we should do that sometimes. That's not a bad idea. Been a long-standing viewer. Love you guys. Hannah, what are some vintage hidden brands, I guess?
Like secret brands that you should be on the lookout for?
Yeah.
Well, Rockies and Rough Riders are going to be my first one. A lot of people don't know what those are. I sell them very well, and people do know what they are, but I feel like they're less known. But there's one vintage brand that I've always really enjoyed. It's called Jam's World, and they do all these like big funky printed shirts. I think they're always really fun. Anytime I see those are really cool. I don't know, other than that, I mostly shop for look. I don't really care what the brand is as long as it's older. If it's a vintage tag and it's something that I think someone would want to wear right now, I'm definitely gonna get it. But other than that, your basic Levi's, Wrangler, Calvin Klein, Ralph Lauren, all that kind of stuff, totally good.
Yeah. Well, someone asked what Power Ranger stuff I'm looking for. At this point, I want to complete the whole VHS set. So there's still plenty more to go there, but that's kind of hard to answer specifics. But these big ones in box are actually something I want in box. And I only have the black and yellow Ranger in box right now. So that's probably the biggest Power Ranger one I'm looking for. Another person asked if I'm still on a Game Boy kick. And I for sure am. Come back for tomorrow's episode, our normal channel video, and you will see just how I'm still into Game Boy games. That's honestly all I think about game-wise. Though, I did leave the house thinking about Game Boy games yesterday to make tomorrow's video. Got a little sidetracked by 3DO, but, that's allowed. Do all your Game Boys work that's on the shelves? Yes. Those are actually, the ones I kind of keep around and play. And there's a lot moving around, but I got a yellow and a green Play It Loud Game Boy there. My Pokemon Color, which was a Goodwill Bins find, it works as well. Though I have a backlit Game Boy Color that I play the most, so these don't really get a ton of action, but I do love having them. What else do you see, Hannah?
When is the Turt shelf coming?
I actually have long since gotten rid of the Turt shelf.
Yeah.
It's just not something I'm nostalgic enough to collect. It's not that I dislike turtles or anything, but Power Rangers fits that vein. If it weren't Power Rangers, it would probably be Turtles, but it is Power Rangers for me. But thank you for that question. Found you guys through Thrifting, and like all the videos, video game talk as well, added bonus. That's cool. I appreciate that, this channel is just, if nothing else, always going to be multifaceted. I would, listen, I've said this before, I'll say it 100 times over. If you want to make a super quick, successful YouTube channel, make it as laser focused on one thing as you can.
Yeah.
I'll be honest with you, if I had just posted a video or two a week and it had always been the banger video games, like take our best video game video from every week, if I just posted it for every week, we'd have a much larger channel now. That's not to say that we'd have less headroom to grow, but there's no way whatsoever that I could live, no matter how much money we'd make, just being glued to only video games or whatever. Because like this Furby thing came out completely random. I just fell in love with them after I had 5 at the house at one time. I was like, I'm doing this now.
Yeah, you really did. I had them on eBay and you're just like,
take them down!
I think I'm going to keep these. I'm like, why? You're like, it's calling to me.
Yeah. And I'm happy with it. It's one of the best collecting decisions personally I think I've ever made.
I mean, that's kind of how the Bratz thing went for me too. I just kind of found one at the thrift one time and I was just like, I think I'm gonna get these now.
Yeah, I'm telling you, I love them. But if we'd have just been a gaming channel and nothing else, or just a Goodwill binge channel and nothing else, people would be like, I don't care about your Furbies, bro. But a lot of you guys seem to appreciate my Furbies because I don't know if you watched today's episode, but I got like 20 of them.
It was a crazy day.
Do you have a favorite Sega Genesis game? Favorite one? I'm probably the one I've played the most. I don't know if it's my favorite though. Power Rangers, just the fighting one. I've played it a ton. I don't know. It's hard to pick for Sega. My Sega collection's kind of poorly. It's like 40 games over there. It's not a lot. And I grew up with the Super Nintendo too, so I was more, I just don't know as much about it as I do the other. Let's see. You can go ahead and allow that one. You're a big man. Have you ever been in a fist fight? I want to see you destroy Jake Paul.
Lord.
Have I ever been in a fist fight? No, I've never. I can pretty much tell you the only times I've been in a fight. There's 3 or 4 times, but it was always someone coming at me, and I'll put them on the ground. So no, I've never just duked it out. I had a guy steal my phone and run away on a bike once, and I pulled him off his bike and punched him in the ribs. I'm pretty sure I broke his ribs, but he didn't fight back.
He had broken ribs. I imagine not.
Yeah, but he was like, the cops arrested him and stuff. He was really high on meth. So again, doesn't really count. I found my color Game Boy. I'm sitting here filling the back of this.
I forgot you put it in there.
I did too. I was just
like, I'm going to bring this backpack with me everywhere, and I want to have my Game Boy with it because you are actually 12 years old.
And there's so many pockets.
It's so crazy. That backpack's amazing.
Pixel Game Squad. What did he said something a second ago? What did he say? Scroll back up. My monitor zoomed way in so I can see it.
The Furbies are looking at me with seduction.
That was just in my backpack. But there's my other one. I guess I should put that over there. Yeah. We put the Furbies on the front row for today. We should start doing that.
The yellow and green one is eyeballing all of us.
Do all of them have their eyes open? I can barely tell.
The pink one doesn't, I don't think.
As a big guy, people seem to think we can fight. This is a really good conversation to have. That's a very quick assumption people make, or whether or not they think we can fight. It's nice sometimes. People want to mess with you and change their minds because you clearly weigh 400 pounds. That's a really common occurrence for us. But I will say, because of that assumption you mentioned, I've been able to avoid most fights. Like in high school, 2 or 3 people tried to fight me, and it was just real simple stuff. What people come at me to push me, and they think that I'm going to they think they're going to push me across the room and start swinging, but they push me and I don't budge because they just have vastly underestimated the fact that I weigh 400 pounds.
They bounce off of you.
Yeah. So that's anyone who's ever tried to fight me. That's how it's went. It just doesn't ever go anywhere because there's just too much of me to move around.
I always got the question, do you play basketball? Because I was a tall girl, and it was just like, no, I don't bounce balls and run.
Someone asked if the yellow Furby was a custom or a normal release. That's a good question. It is a normal one. I think it's like 2nd or 3rd gen, or I would say 2nd or 3rd release. Generations, it would be, this would be generation 1. I don't have a generation 2 out here, but basically generation 3 and 4, if you will. But inside of that first generation, there was 5 or 6 different long releases, and that was in a slightly later one. But it's pretty funny with the stripes and all. It's one of my favorites.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's a cool one.
simply because it's yellow. Let's see.
Everybody's hating on the eyes of all of our toys. They're saying the Bratz dolls' eyes are pretty creepy too. I mean, I will admit, an army of Bratz dolls just living on this shelf over here is kind of creepy. I can't point to it right. There we go.
Someone asked, do you ever feel like you're being looked at when you walk into your game room? Yeah, I mean, the Furbies will certainly make you feel that way. I refer to them all the time as eliciting a visceral response, and almost biological is the word. They elicit a biological response because you see those human eyes and eyes lashes, and you're like, ugh.
Like, run.
Yeah, that's funny. We need a Pixel Game Squad and TENDO and Hannah crossover. Yeah, man. We probably should do that sometime. Come up to Pixel Game Squad. Are you guys in California? Aren't they in California? Do you remember? I feel like you guys are in California. Let me know. We'll have to roll over sometime.
I don't remember.
Because we lived there 4 years prior to starting this channel, and then moved here for a couple of years before we started the channel. And it was about that time I ever even really started watching YouTube and becoming familiar with any channels like yours. And at some point, I think I was like, oh, they're in California. They're right where we were, where we used to be. That's funny. Do you ever play PSVR? Not currently, but boy, do I want to. There's a couple VR chat type games in there that are a lot like Minecraft in the way I explained earlier, where you can just go hang out and do shenanigans. We'll definitely expand into that one of these days. But like, if I was going to go out and buy 2 VR headsets and setups right now, we're talking a pretty penny. Heck yeah, we're in California. Well, man, when all this craziness is over, let's go buy some video games. I bet we didn't collect video games when we lived in California. We didn't do anything like this at all.
It did not.
Our friends had an Xbox and we played Worms.
Yep. And Rayman Legends.
Yep. That's funny. Oh, you're in Orange County. Well, we lived in Long Beach, just above you a bit, for, I don't know how long we were there, 3 or 4 years.
Yeah.
I miss it. Yeah,
it was a good time.
Do you, Retro Rick or Ivan, ever find stuff that is too good to pass up that you would send to each other? I guess I can't speak for them. I mean, Ivan has sent me a Furby or two, so I guess I can speak for him a little bit. I have a shelf full of stuff up there that's going to Rick next time we go see him. So yeah, there's a couple things I know he wants bad. Like one of our first interactions together, we're talking about the Disney Channel original VHS tape movies, and he wants that collection bad. So I've found those at the bins and stuff and bought them and set them aside for him for sure. That's awesome though. That was a good question. Thank you. We got Worms. Worms is such a good game. You work in Long Beach, really? Am I to assume from your emoji that you're a lifeguard, or what do you do up there? That's fascinating. It's crazy. It's crazy the amount of stuff that now that we've moved out of LA, we now know is there. Like Ivan has become a really good friend of mine, and they lived blocks from us. Like we were probably at the same thrift stores all the time and didn't know it.
It's so crazy to think, but yeah, like we were right there the whole time.
Yeah, well, probably the same with Riff. I mean, he does he does some flea markets and stuff like that, and we were probably at some of those flea markets sometimes because we did a lot of that. We did a lot more of that in LA than we do here. But yeah, this is a good question. Let's see what else. Totally evil Furby vibes. We're gonna actually, we might have to maybe make an episode for the live show out of this. Just go live and organize the Furby collection together. Because this center shelf right here is for sure where the Furbies are going to go, and I need to clean everything else off the shelf, and just do row by row by row. But
yeah,
I keep saying I'm going to do it. It actually is turning into a lot of work because I think I've doubled the number of Furbies I had.
It's growing so quickly. That's kind of how like my Bratz stuff is too. Like I could fill one of those shelves with all my Bratz dolls, but I need to put clothes on them and fix their hair first. So we're gonna leave them in the baskets for right now.
That's funny. Can you please fix that black Wii box that is upside down? OCD is killing me. Well, it's a good thing you didn't watch the earlier part of the video because you'll have known what you just caused. I work for Southern California Edison. I am a planner and work on the entire energy grid for Long Beach. Man,
That's crazy.
we definitely got to hang out because I want to know more about that because I mean, I know just from the surface, having lived there, what the energy, how crazy the energy grid in all of LA can be. So Hannah's cousin works in that industry as well, just not LA. He has a company that your company's probably hired to do third party stuff. So I've had a lot of conversations with him about his job and keeping some of the grids in the crazier cities up and going. I find that stuff crazy fascinating.
It's wild.
Yeah. Can you dress up as a giant Furby and go to a furry convention? Can I? Sure. Will I? I mean, if somebody wants to invite the Tendo crew to their furry convention, who the hell am I to say no? Listen, you'll find this out about me more and more as time goes on. I'm down for whatever. I don't care.
That's true. I mean, like, you're pretty much if it's not going to kill me, I'll probably try it.
Someone asked what Digimon VHS I have. Not very many. The movies, a couple of the older movies and a couple episodes. I don't try very hard for them. This is a really terrible reason, but they're in the plastic cases. I hate this. I hate these on my shelf. I hate the way they look. I prefer the cardboard box. So it's like, that's why I collect Pokemon and Dragon Ball VHS. I buy these when I see them and I don't have them, but it's not as serious to me as some of the others.
You know, it's funny, the first time you said, like, I hate those plastic cases, I was like, oh, why? And then I thought about it for 5 seconds, and I was like, yeah, they're awful. Like, they're not the best.
What did you do for thrifting before Phoenix? Because Lexington, Kentucky sucks for thrifting. Well, when I lived in Western Kentucky, we didn't do anything like this at all. I mean, when we met, we were in Kentucky and still in school, and I did video work for a living. Hannah did other things.
I did other things.
Other things. Let's see. But yeah, this is the only place we've lived and done this. Now, we thrifted a bunch in LA, but that was almost for survival. We were so broke when we lived in LA. Mm-hmm. We got all our clothes and house and cooking wear and stuff at yard sales and antique malls.
Yeah.
Thrifting was always a hobby for us prior to this.
Yeah, I mean, it was a way for us to go do something, not spend a ton of money, and just kind of go shopping a little bit. So...
Riff said, I'm about to go edit a bit, but just wanted to say I love you both. I don't get to comment much because I'm usually driving while watching. I really appreciate both of you. Much love. Same to you, my man. Let's chat sometime soon. When all this craziness is over, if you're down, I'd love to come to LA and hang out a little bit. Do you guys plan on getting married at some point? Go back and watch last week's episode.
I chitty-chat about that a little bit.
Yeah. I need to make a clip out of last week's. We didn't talk about it. I feel like the marriage question at length. I feel like maybe one of these days, a few months from now, you'll get a notification about our live show that says, let's talk about marriage. It'll be the title of it. And we'll literally spend a lot of the episode talking about it because it needs more discussion, I think, than we really got into it. But we're not going to talk about that right now. Let's see. Do your custom pants come in plus sizes, Hannah? That's a great question.
Yes, they do. Just let me know your measurements.
Do you currently on your Depop page have plus sizes listed?
I have up to 36 listed right now, and then I also have another icon that says available in all sizes. Just let me know if you don't see your size here. And the reason it only goes up to 36 at the moment is because I haven't gotten down to 38 and 40 and onward yet. So I do have them listed on my Etsy in plus sizes. So just message me if you don't see your size. It's totally fine.
Yeah, we'll get it done for sure. Let's do one more round of questions and we're going to get out of here. What's our time at? We're about to an hour and a half.
Yeah.
I appreciate all you guys hanging out with us. Before we start to wind down this show, definitely hit that like button. Get this video up a little bit. How many likes are we at? It's hard. Our likes are cut off. We can't see it.
128.
All right. Help us get that likes up to 200. If all of you watching hit it now, we'll have our highest liked live show ever. And I'd really appreciate that. Custom pants is when they dress pants up for Halloween. I wish he would like us to put clothes on him because he's not into that kind of thing at all.
It would freak Momo out. She'd be so scared of it, and Pants would just get mad. He'd just be like, why are you doing this to me? What is happening? Isn't that right, bud?
Do all the things you guys have get overwhelming? I imagine you're asking all the things we do.
All our spinning plates.
I mean, I won't answer for you. For me, yeah, I think, yeah, of course is the answer. But it's levels of overwhelming. Does it ever get too overwhelming to handle? No. What gets overwhelming is that, two things overwhelm me. I want to do more, but don't have the tools, finances, facilities to do it. Because a lot of people watching this channel, on the surface, recognize that we do a lot. Not just a lot of stuff, but a lot of crazy things, right? Like,
yeah.
we do some unique stuff on this channel. And my frustration often is that I can do 5 times much more. I'm just too broke to do any of it. I want to do cooler, different things. I've got a lot more creativity in me than I'm currently able to put on this channel.
Right.
And we've got to wait for the slow growth to happen before we can do some of that. And the fact that I don't have the tools yet to make that next step, that often overwhelms me. That's my best answer to that question. Do you have an answer?
Short answer, yes. I get overwhelmed very easily because I am a very emotional person. So whenever I start to think about, oh, I need to do this, oh, that's getting behind, oh, I need to take care of that, oh, today we have to do this though, and then tomorrow I'm not going to be able to work on anything because this other thing we have to do, I start to get very overwhelmed and very stressed. But it's all about time management and trying to figure out, okay, this block of the day is for this, and then this block of the day is for this, and then figure it out from there, and then getting through it. It'll get done.
Yeah. So yeah, that's definitely another topic later down the road we can spend more time on. You know, how do we deal with as much as we have to do? We have a lot of strategies that we talk about. Someone asked, how do we dust the game room? You're not going to believe me when I say this. Never dusted it.
Yeah.
Nothing. The climate here and the way things work, it's not as big of a problem as it is in other parts of the country.
Yeah.
So it's not really, I mean, not that things don't get a little dirty in here, but it's not bad. It's not bad at all. You guys inspired me to open a showcase at the Houston Antique Mall. That's awesome. Definitely let us know how that goes for you. I like feedback on how Antique Mall stuff goes for other people. So that's what that's one of the big things our Discord is for, that I like people to come through and do. Richard, thank you for the 99. Thank you for the cat. That brightens my day. Let's see. Why we buy our granddaughter Cat's Christmas pajamas. When she puts them on, they fall over immediately. That's funny.
Oh.
Yeah, cats. Thanks again, Richard, for the hot dog. Love me a hot dog. You know what they say? If all pork chops were perfect,
we wouldn't have hot dogs.
We wouldn't have hot dogs. And I live by those words. Can you do a candy contest like with the cereal? Yeah, eventually. That's the kind of thing we're going to do like once every few months. I don't want this channel to be the ranking foods channel, but
yeah,
we'll definitely do some of that. All right. One more small handful of questions and we are going to end this. Good evening, guys. Just wanted to say hi. Also, thank you again for the CRTV. Oh, that was you. You're the one that bought the CRTV from our antique mall.
Oh,
wow. Let's see, till we run into you again. I want to say peace. Yeah, that's another couple people said something about hoping to meet us or hoping to even see us around Phoenix. We had an interesting interaction, which you'll kind of maybe see on tomorrow's episode. We were walking out of a game store and someone shouted, "Hey, Tendo!" And I love telling stories about meeting people in public because it's often funny, and not like a bad way. I love meeting you guys and stuff, but it keeps happening in weird ways that I don't expect it. So someone rolled up into the game store while we were leaving. We had our hands on the door. I think I might have even held the door open for them, but they didn't realize until they got past that it was me. It was a really funny interaction, and they went, "Oh, hey, Tendo!" And we were like, "Oh, hey, how are you?" But we were already on the way out. And so it's like this weird situation where we can walk back in and say hello as to not be rude. But also, I keep having these kind of weird fears where at Goodwill's, what if they know who we are? Because this is happening. We've had a manager the other day at a Goodwill come up to us and tell us how much him and his wife loved our channel.
yeah.
A manager, big store manager. And we were like, whoa, that was good. Because he came up to us and we were like, he's going to kick us out for using our cameras, is what we thought. But then he ended up just being really cool. So who knows if the people at the game stores know who we are or not. I don't expect them to. My default position is they have no idea who I am.
Right.
But we had someone roll up today and or yeah, today it'd say, "Oh, hey, you know, we couldn't stand to talk to him." So if that person's watching, if you see us at a thrift store or a normal, if you see us like grocery shopping, it's no problem. Say hello. But we had to run off on that interaction because I don't need those game store guys to go, "Oh, that YouTuber guy's loitering in our store." You know, that's like a deep dark fear of mine. You know, or like at the Goodwill bins, we don't want the Goodwill bins people, you know, finding out that we're YouTubers or knowing that we're YouTubers and having a problem with it. But we had several people say stuff about meeting us earlier on, so I wanted to talk about that. How did you find your first antique mall booth? I grew up in a place where antique malls are on every other block in my hometown in Kentucky. So that's the simple answer. It was just something I was super familiar with. Now, as far as how we found the first one here, it was a combination of Googling around trying to find them, and then we actually had a lot of comments from some local people that watch tell us where they were. Do you remember finding any other way? I went to a flea market outside of one here. I found one that didn't come up on Google, but there was a yearly flea market they have, and I got a Facebook advertisement for that, so that was pretty lucky. What does Stacy have to say?
So Stacy says, come to Boise, Idaho sometime if you like. We have a youth ranch warehouse here also too.
Is that just a thrift store?
Yeah, I don't know what that one is.
Yeah, I haven't heard of that one, but I'm into it. Definitely love to make it there sometime. Let's see.
What was the first sale you ever flipped?
Ever?
Yeah.
It
would have been a clothing item. Or what?
Well, for me, it would have been something on Craigslist.
Yeah.
15 years ago.
Well, I guess define flipped then, because you were then selling music equipment that you had in order to purchase other music equipment.
Yeah, I was guitar rich at one point. There was a time in my life I probably owned 30 at once.
Yeah, so it wasn't necessarily like buying it specifically to sell it.
Yeah, but I don't know if that distinction matters. I mean, you buy and sell it, and for me, it would have been a guitar probably.
Yeah. I actually do know what it was. It was a jumpsuit I sold for $15 on Depop. And I regret it because it was a really awesome jumpsuit. I could have got way more for it, but I was just starting out and I was like, I don't know how this works. I'm going to put everything cheap and hope it works out. So I do remember that now.
Yeah.
You can scroll all the way down to my Depop feed and find the very first item that I ever sold on there.
Right. It's like your good. Okay, so it's like a bins, Stacy. Cool. Well, good to know. If you ever hear us say on a channel that we're coming that way, I'll try to write it down or we'll try to remember it. But if you ever hear us say we're coming that way, be sure to comment and let us know we should go to that. Because, you know, when we get back to traveling post-COVID, that's the kind of thing we definitely want to go see. Steven Universe thumbnail. I mean, if you want to look at it that way, I mean, that's me and Hannah's who that is. I need to write down that gentleman's that drew that for us. Remind me when we're done. Or if somehow you're here watching, let me know. I want to make sure we get that guy's Instagram or website or something and definitely share it out. Because there's a gentleman on our Discord who drew that picture on our thumbnail of us, and it's pretty much the best thing I've ever seen in my life. Not because I'm in it, because the guy's just awesome. All right. Well, does it look like there's anything else we have to answer right now? Play us an automaton song.
Oh
I don't think my automaton has batteries in it, and Hannah hates it.
I don't hate it. Just, 5 minutes at a time. It's fine.
Yeah. How do you sell stickers for? $1.50 a piece. That's it. And Rose said something about 60,000 people vaccinated in Guam, which is where she lives, if you don't know. And there's 175,000 people there total, so roughly half. Yeah, that's not bad. It's hard to say stateside here how things are going vaccine-wise. I mean, they're definitely hitting the markers of what they want. Hannah and I haven't been vaccinated yet because, here where we're at, there's order of importance. Some of my buddies here in town have been vaccinated. They're like, exterminators and other household services. So we're looking forward to getting vaccinated and the world being normal so we can do travel. We can pretty much end on this conversation here. Does CLZ Games keep up with my handhelds? Yes, I have all my handhelds logged in CLZ Games. It's very good for that. I definitely can't wait to get back to travel. Travel is always another one of those things. We were talking about being overwhelmed earlier. One of the things that overwhelms me is how little opportunity there is to travel right now, when that's so much of what we want to do. It's what we bought our bread truck for. Yeah, we want to travel a ton and go to all these places you guys are mentioning. I'd love for every other video we ever do to be travel. That's very much so what we're into. There are probably 200 Goodwill bins in this country, and we've probably been to 30. So that's a big one we want to do. We want to be those people that can say they've been to all of them. Will you ever do a live with, where did that question go? With Rick or Ivan as virtual guests? I doubt it. I doubt we'll do it with them virtual. But would we, if the occasion arises, do it live with them wherever they are, or if they happen to be traveling through here? Absolutely. I'm not saying never. I'll never say never. If there's a reason for one of them to call in, sure, we'll do it. But I like to put that kind of thing off until I can be there. Matter of fact, Rick reached out to me originally to do a video collab together and basically send each other footage. And I told him, I said, well, how do you feel about me just coming to you and we do it together? Because if there's ever an opportunity to not do something virtual and do it together, I'm going to prefer to do it that way. And he's like, yeah, sure. And then I just knocked on his door a month later. It's pretty much how it worked out. So yeah, kind of. If I send you jeans, will you make customs? Unfortunately, no, we're not going to do it that way. But you're more than welcome to check out our Depop, and we'll very likely have your sizes ready to go. But that's it, guys. Thank you for being here. Before we go, make sure you hit that like button. Check out the link that's pinned in the over in the chat, and check that out for us before we get out of here. Next, and also maybe drop a comment right before you get out of here for any suggestions of what you might like to see on this live show. And because we're looking for ideas, we're trying to plan a couple weeks ahead with ideas, what to do on the live show, what to talk about. But we can always use more ideas. I appreciate you guys hanging out with us. You rock. Come back next time. And until then, guys, look at my